There are many people who say the superhero genre is completely oversaturated, but personally, I don't think there are too many superhero movies, just that there are too many bad superhero movies and TV shows too, especially after 2019, which gave us Avengers Endgame, Joker, The Boys, and Umbrella Academy. And when you take into consideration how long action movies in general have been around, you begin to see why bad superhero projects shouldn't exist today. Superhero movies have been around longer than I can remember, from 2000's X-Men to 2021's Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's safe to say superhero movies have done it all in terms of what works best and resonates well with the fans, what divides the fandom, or what everyone, including modern feminists, have united in hatred against.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be, when it fits a woman.
Why?
And it's also safe to say that the studios like Disney and Warner Brothers know what the fans are sick and tired of seeing and what they would like to see more of. So it really makes no sense as to why the Flash movie, for instance, was thoroughly bad when live-action speedsters, both good and bad, have been around long enough to serve as the perfect blueprint for a superhero movie about the most famous speedster of them all, who inspired most of them. Or how Marvel till this day, for some weird reason, still can't make a good female-led superhero movie or TV show, despite the countless incredible female leads that have existed and could have easily drawn inspiration from, including the many interesting, complex, and well-written ones in the MCU. And the one that deserved a good movie the most got something that you could easily tell the studio didn't care much about. And that's just sad considering how long the MCU has been around and how many female superheroes it's brought to the big screen, which includes shows made by Netflix, Hulu, and other television networks that are loosely tied to the MCU, like May and Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Elektra from Daredevil, or even Satana from Hellstrom, which is a stupidly underrated show on Hulu you should definitely check out when you can. And I know you may have heard this too many times, but it's actually better than every Disney Plus Marvel show, including Loki.
It's true! It's really true!
So instead of picking already existing characters with loosely developed stories and expand on them, for some reason I can't think of, they've decided to force these I am already perfect and overpowered characters on their audience, and when it backfires, they blame their failures on the audience.
Of course. It's expected.
But the king of bad superhero movies, which in my opinion is the worst offender to the superhero genre, is definitely Warner Brothers. These guys have access to the most popular superheroes in the world and till this day continue to fail at creating an interconnecting universe. They had their own thing going for them, very slowly following behind Marvel, but they got too horny for money and eagerly ditched Zack Snyder's work along with all the progress he had made, despite it making them a lot of profit, simply because they wanted to be like Marvel. Even after the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which broke records on HBO Max and served as a clearest sign that this will work, they still refused to give the fans what they wanted and continue to dwell in their arrogance and failure, and we all know how that's going for them.
I say they get what they deserve.
But personally, I sometimes can't stop thinking about the fact that Man of Steel didn't get to be a trilogy. With the way manga sales are outperforming comic book sales all over the world, it's very obvious that there's something the Japanese are doing right with their stories that the American comic book companies aren't doing and also actively ignoring. And naturally, manga will continue to outsell comics. With the recent release of the One Piece live-action series, it's safe to say that the manga anime community is slowly breaking out of its movie curse and will one day inevitably catch up with the MCU and even surpass it. Of course, I'm not saying all comic books are bad, nor am I saying all manga is a 10 out of 10, but it's safe to say that the manga community is getting bigger and better, and I honestly cannot see the same for comic books. Another interesting question I thought of is, why don't these studios just copy or take inspiration from anime? At least the anime that are really good. It's not like they haven't done it in the past countless times already. There are so many examples of Hollywood movies that have copied scenes or entire plots from anime, and it turned out to be a really good decision. From Ghost in the Shell influencing The Matrix and Westworld, to Princess Mononoke influencing Avatar, to Paprika influencing Inception. And you may be asking, why don't they do that now, especially when a lot of the stuff they are trying aren't working for them? While at the same time, the number of incredible stories in the world of anime they could easily take inspiration from just keeps going up. Well, your guess is as good as mine. As pessimistic as I may sound, I don't believe the superhero genre is in danger. I believe these major corporations will one day admit defeat and give fans what they want. And if they don't do that, the fans will just band together and make their own thing, whether in the form of fan-made projects or originals inspired by the good old days of superhero movies. Unless, of course, they manage to somehow reorganize themselves, throw out the garbage, figure out what people want to see and deliver accordingly, to avoid being dethroned and cast aside into oblivion. by a live-action Berserk series, for instance. And don't even get me started on manhwa and webtoons, but that's a topic for another time. So guys, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think the anime manga world will dethrone superhero movies in cinemas?
That can happen.
Do you think the good days of comic book movies are in the past? Or are you, for some weird reason, still stubborn and optimistic about the future like I am?